Ois v'hoder levusha v'tishchak l'yoyim acharei rananananayna mayayayam niranananayna nirananam. Ois v'hoder levusha. Ois is strength. Hoder is beauty. The levusha is the garments, the clothing. V'tishchak l'yoyim acharei. You'll laugh on the last day. So what is the last day? Where is the last day? So the last day is the tachas hadiyah shalei neda. To know, not to know. So these are very, very beautiful words that are used a lot, but we'll try to, we'll explain what that is, so we can all tap into that, to what it is, the tachas hadiyah shalei neda. It's by knowing. When we know, when we squeeze, when we know, it opens up from the top, the crown opens up, and then we're connected to the source, connected to tachas hapshitas, connected to simplicity, connected to not knowing, to just being. So the question is, we have there's a lot of times in Bria, a few times where there's Creator says do something, and the response is no, I'm not doing it. For instance, when the fruits, when the earth was creating, Hashem created the fruits. He wanted that the tree should have the same taste as the fruit, but earth didn't do that. He only, the fruit had the taste, but he didn't. The tree didn't have the same taste. The tree was supposed to have the same taste as the fruit. And that's why when Adam ate from the Eitz Hadas and the curses came in, and Hashem cursed them, then he also got 10 curses. So the question is, how can he say no? What do you mean he says no? What do you mean he didn't do as he was told? Who is he? What level of consciousness is the earth to be able to say that he's not doing it? And if he said no, then why? How was he then put in his place? What gave him the power to say no? What and why? What is going on? So everything is sourced in the source, and everything has its way of expression. And Rav Nachman explains in one of the Torahs, Rav Nachman explains that Creator's midas is his world. If you want to see his attributes, you look at the world, the galaxies, the stars, and this is how he operates in world. You have storms and tornadoes and the fires and wind and all types of inyanim. And then there is more detailed tragedies, or happiness or whatever good things that are happening. But ultimately, then there is the movement. That is how things are moving. It's more of a it's a ruach, it's a spirit, and because we are so mechanically inclined, therefore we're missing the we don't see it. We're not seeing it. We look at it as Mother Nature, but Mother Nature is Elokim, as Creator, is communicating. He's doing his thing to get our attention, or to keep things in place, or things have actions and reactions. So the question is, how did the earth have the koyach to do what it did, not to listen? So the answer is that it's sourced in source. It's sourced in Creator. Everything is sourced in Creator, all the way into the belly of it, or the heart of it, or whatever it is, so to speak. These are all mashalom, just based on the midas, on where it's heading to, or what the purpose of it is. And within that space, it had the bechira. It has choice, because it's sourced in source, and Creator is not limited to anything. So there's choice. There's always options, and based on, so he went a certain way, a certain route, and that therefore he ended up in a place where he felt, or however Earth was expressing itself, it said no. It didn't do the way he was told, the way the message came down, but he went into his own, let's say, his own desire, his own feeling, and he operated from that place, and he said no. Now, what it was is that he got cursed. Now, the curse was not a punishment. Because if it's a punishment, then something doesn't make sense. Because if it's sourced in source, in creator, and he drew from that place, how can it be punished? If he was able to find that expression within its source, then why should it be punished for? That means that also existed. Yes, I hear the message that you said that you want the tree to have the same taste as the fruit. That's one message. But then I also have another message that says that I don't want to, I don't need to, I don't have to, or I feel otherwise. So that space that he felt otherwise, he pulled that from his source. So why would it be punished? So the answer is that it's not a punishment. It's a consequence. It's not an oynish, it's a consequence. Every action has a reaction. Action and reaction. So sometimes somebody has an evil inclination, so it looks like he's getting punished because he's doing a very aggressive expression, and that aggressive expression is being responded with another aggressive expression, because it's tit for tat. So therefore, it looks like it's an onish, but it's not an onish. It's just a consequence. The same as with Adam Rishon, with the Eitz Hadas, that if Hashem is in everything and He's everywhere and He is controlling everything, then how can Adam eat from the Eitz Hadas against Hashem's will, against Creator's will? Where is he getting it from? The answer is that it wasn't an onish. A chet doesn't mean a chet, doesn't mean a sin. It means a mark. He missed the mark, and instead of going here, it went over there, and going here has a consequence. So we see from let's see the water also, when creation was taking place, and Hashem said Yikuvi Amayim, that all the waters should come together. So what the water did is that it spread out all over the planet Earth. It covered everything. So Hashem said, I want to see Earth. I want to see the Adam. I want to be able to see that. So what it did is it went from the top of the mountain down to the Tehom, and from Tehom back to the top of the mountain. So it started going back and forth, back and forth. It caused massive chaos, and it was very loud. And Hashem, it says a message that He screamed, and from the scream it went into the water, it went into the Tehom, and since then it's afraid to come out because of the scream that Hashem did. Hashem gave, and it's sitting there with humility, it's sitting there humble. So we see from that something very, very interesting. We see that each creation has its own unique way of how it responds, because the water seems to be very robotic. It doesn't have many options. It doesn't know any middle work, any middle ground. It knows one way or the other way, which means that it's almost like a lot of Kabbalah soil, a lot of acceptance, a lot of surrender, a lot of bittul. Very powerful, but almost like it has two gears. It can go right and it can go left. It can go front and back. That's it. It doesn't have any in between. It goes one force this way, one force that way. And the minute he was screamed at, it just went in, and he's like, "Oh, I now it's sitting there. It's waiting for the next order. It's doing whatever it's told to do. It doesn't ask any questions. It can't negotiate. It can't go slower or faster. It only has one speed." So as we're going through the process, we're all mushrish, we're all connected into drawing from something. But during the week, throughout the process of the week, and 6 days of the week, and throughout the 6,000 years of this creation, and throughout our gullus and whatever it is that we're going through, there is different ceilings that we're hitting. You go 1 year, you hit this ceiling, and then you hit a higher ceiling and higher ceiling. But ultimately, from when I'm hitting the ceiling, I'm getting a response. There is a vibration that's coming back. But ultimately, we are limited as to how far or how clear, how much I can receive, how much I can push through. Shabbos is Amunah. Shabbos is a ma'ain olam haba. It's from La'asid Lava. It's how we're going to be in 200 years from now. We're going to enter that space of Shabbos, which is there is no work. You're not allowed to do anything. You're basically just sitting in meditation, and you're sitting and you're just embracing, you're just receiving. Everything is done for us, because Creator is resting that day. It means that there is no movement. Everything just is. It almost makes no sense. We can't understand it because we're used to, in order for us to receive, we need to constantly move. And here we're in a process of not moving. So what happens is that we're going in from das, from knowing, we're entering in Amunah. From Amunah is a consciousness. It's an existence. It's a space that you enter into. The head goes in there. It's a different space. It enters in a different space. And Shabbos is also Ratzon. Now, Amunah is beyond logic. It's called a leap of faith. It's beyond logic. It makes no sense that I believe. Why should I believe? What do you mean it's going to work out? It doesn't make sense. It want to make sense. So throughout the week, when we're doing our things, it has to make sense. It has to make sense, dollars and cents. It has to make sense. You can't just say that I have faith. I mean, ultimately, in the background, that's what's always playing, faith. That's why we're raised, and that's where it is, because we have the capacity to go there. But before you enter into faith, you still have to, Amunah, you have to do a pa'ula. You have to do an action, because you need to process it. You can't just, it's not Shabbos, because we're not in an olam, but we're still in world. We still need an olam asiyah. We still need to work. So we're going into Amunah. We're going into faith, which is, faith is, once again, it's a place of not knowing. I don't know, but I'm just surrendering to it. From there, Shabbos is Raiva Deraiva, which is Ratzon, which is Keser. Keser is split in two. We have the top Keser, which is Einig, and the pleasure, and the bottom Keser, which is Ratzon, which is will. So, Ein Davar Oimed B'fnei Ratzon. When somebody wants something, nothing is in the way of Ratzon. Why is nothing in the way of Ratzon? Because it also makes no sense. When a kid wants something, it wants something. It doesn't make any sense. We also, when we want something, it doesn't make any sense. I want to do that. I want to go here, and you will get it, because that's what you want. Somewhere on the route to you getting what you want, you may decide that it's not so important to you and don't really want it, and that's when it doesn't really happen. And that's okay. But ultimately, when you want something, you will get it. You will. The end of because if you stay focused on it, now there could be consequences on the way, and you have to make that decision sometimes. Is it worth it for me to break my my boundaries, my value system, in order to get there, and you back away. So then we're going into Ratzon. We're going into Ratzon, which is once again, which is higher than logic. When there is life, there can be death. There can be missive, there's chaim. When there is truth, there can be a lie. They can't exist. Either there is truth, so there isn't lie. When there's a full truth is exposed, then there can be a lie. And when life is there can be that. Sickness is a form of death. It's a form of missa, which is, sickness is where a person is out of das. When you're out of das, you're taking away the das, you're going into the lack of knowing. Then that's the nachash, because there is a lack of presence. And when there is a lack of presence, there is missa. And that's why we're ultimately dying, because there's a part of the body that doesn't know, that can't process that you can live forever. There's a part of the body that can't process a full level of Amunah. Only very few Yechidim were able to do that, which was Aliyah Navi, so on and so forth. Yishai lived 400 years. There is very few characters that were able to do that. Because they processed their body all the way to the end, so there was no every part of the body knew that there was das. So the tachlis idea the purpose of knowing, the purpose of processing, of going through the process of life, to go through my day to day, to get to know whatever I need to know, to ultimately get to a place of teloineda, to get to a place where I go into Amunah, and from Amunah, Shabbos, we are able to enter in the space of Ratzon. And when we're going into the place of Ratzon, is the ultimate space of Ein Davar Oim B'fnei Ratzon, because that's when I'm meeting the Tachlis Abshitas, I'm meeting simplicity. The water is up there, the waters of Keir are absolutely silent, there is no movement, there's no sound, there's no color. And when I'm going into Tachlis Shalei Neda, it's where I fully process through my full existence to the place where there's absolute calmness. There is this. The water is still, and when the water is still, I'm also entering the place of shittas, simplicity. And when we're entering the place of simplicity, we're making a yichud, and when we're making that yichud, then we're fully alive. And when we're fully alive, then that's why Shabbos Shabbos is the power of Shabbos is healing. Shabbos has the power of healing, because when there's sickness is only when there's something that is in conflict. When there is a part that's in conflict, there's a part that doesn't accept that it can't accept that there is das, that there is presence, that there is life. That there's just an illusion, because anything that is not in life force is in misa. And when it's misa, it's an illusion. It's not a reality. It's an illusion. It's part of the ego. It's an illusion of a lack of knowing. So when we're going into Shabbos, when we're hitting that point, we're making a yichud with the ultimate pshittas, the ultimate simplicity, where we're going into Ratzon, we end up b'fnei Ratzon. That's when we're receiving that vibration that goes through our bodies, and it clears all the blockages. Any part and every part of the body that is still in conflict, that is still in lack of life, gets a reality check of life. It goes into simplicity, and the sickness doesn't have any reasoning, because it needs to make sense. There has to be a worry. There has to be a fear. There has to be a judgment. There has to be a trauma. In order for the sickness has levels that it's pulling from. That it needs to be in communication with. It has to lean on something. Something is feeding that lack. Something is proving that there is a lack. But when we're going into the ultimate level of stillness, the ultimate level of life force, the ultimate level of being and of loy neda. Lo neda is that I don't need to know, and I don't know, and everything is just in being in simplicity, being in the presence. Then it gets removed. Everything gets removed, and everything gets dissolved. So every action has a consequence. The water has its way of its bechira, how it expresses itself and how it receives. The earth and the tree, Adama did an action, and there was a consequence for that. Yes, ultimately he drew from the source, and it wasn't a punishment, but the highest place that he was able to go to, where he was able to reach his level of loy neda, his level of bittul, there was still a consequence, that there was 10 levels of degradation that he had to deal with on the way Earth is processing stuff now, with all types of koitz and adarim, they have to work the ground in order for it to be able to produce. That was his level of bittul. That's his level of where he went all the way to the end in his process. But and we also have our level of bechira, and every level of our bechira has its consequences. When you're making a choice, you're not being punished. When you're going through your squeeze, it's not a punishment because something that somebody was trying to get even with you, or there's a god, a dark god that wants to do not good and has a cheshm with you. That is das tachn. That is really very low level thinking, low vibration, very low vibration thinking. Shabbos, we have the ability, and we have the obligation. You have to. Shabbos is it's lamates malachas. You have the ability, of the obligation, that you can go into a level of do an action that the consequence of it is, when you're surrendering to the ultimate. When you can surrender to a place where the consequence of it is absolute presence and 100% life, 100%. It's me'ena lamaba. It's la'asid love. It's a level of existence, a level of being that is yesh ma'ayin. Yesh ma'ayin. In other words, you're receiving from a place emes me'eres titzmach. The truth sprouts forth from the ground, where it just comes out of nowhere. You don't understand it. That is the type of level, because when you're going into neda, then it can't be me'eretz titzmach. I need to know. That means that I'm planting, I'm doing an action. In order for the reaction, I invest $100 so I can make 200. I invest 1,000 to make 10,000, whatever the case is, there is an action, a reaction. But when you're going into a place of absolute, when you're entering the space of Shabbos, when you're going into Shmiras of Shabbos, the Shomer Shabbos, we're going into a place where something that it makes no sense, because the whole system gets cleared, because we're making a yichud with the highest level of unknown. And the highest level of unknown is all good. It's all light. It's the Ratzon Hashem, which is the pure source of life. It's the source of life. It's the source that feeds and fuels the whole creation, and the whole existence is being fueled. That's what we're tapping into. And when we're dealing with a thing that is the ultimate source of life, remember, when there is life, there can be death. When there's truth, there can be a lie. And that is Me'eres Titzmach. That is something that comes out. That's something that's created Shabbos, when we're entering in the space of Shabbos, when we're keeping the Shabbos, we're observing the Shabbos, we're going into the Lamates Melachos, which is Tal, Tal Oiris, which is Shefa Rav, and we each have the opportunity and an obligation to enter that space, because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you plug into that? To go in with full emunah, which is a leap of faith, belief that when you're entering in the space of Shabbos, you're going into a place, an incubator, a prayer, a tefillah, a meditation of amunah, a level of amunah. It's a vibration. It's very, like I always said, all the realms, all the vibrations, all the worlds, Gan Eden, the Gan Eden Tachten, Gan Eden Elin, it's all happening within the mind. It's just that certain levels of Gan Eden, heaven, that we can't enter, because I can't surrender. There's only a certain space. I can't walk through this wall in my physical body. So when we get to a certain place, when the work is done, the body dissolves and the spirit moves on, and that spirit can go through the wall, and it can see something else, or enters in a different space. And then from there we're entering in the space of Ratzon, end of Ratzon. So that is the Adam Eitz Hasada. Yeah, we're also the Eitz Hasada. Why is it here? I'm not sure, but ultimately it's Bris Olam Shmiras HaBris, which is the Yesod, and when you're aligned with the Yesod, the Yesod is the foundation. What is the foundation? The foundation is that we can, because of Shabbos, we can communicate. Shabbos is a matana that was given to us, and that's an opportunity where we can go into hit the deepest space within us. That space that not the body, not even the spirit, something deeper than that. It's the neshama. It's the neshama yesera that we enter. It's something very deep that you need something to remember. You have to be, in order to activate something, you have to be seen from that place. If you're not seen from that place, you have to work very hard. And sometimes if you're never seen from the place, then you don't even know where to go. You don't even know where to go to find that space within you. But Shabbos, we're being seen from that place, from the neshama yesera. We're being seen from that place, from the deepest place of within us, coming from the deepest place from Creator, and that is the bris, that is the covenant that we have. We're connecting from that place, going in, and we can only reach that space when we have amunah, when you have faith, when you believe, and going into the ratzon, to the will, when you're having the will to go there. I want to go into that place of amunah. I want to enter that space of that little heichal of amunah. Imagine you're going into a retreat that's called amunah. Going into a retreat called Amunah, it costs a week, X amount of dollars, then you're being fed special foods, and you get to sleep and rest and taken care of. And taken care of means that you're going into this light, a recharging light that is just recharging you and elevating you, healing you from all types of death and doubt and brokenness and judgments and all that you're being healed from, so you can enter and be in that place, to make a yichud in that place of Shabbos, of Amunah, and that is the refuah. And if you heal, when you're looking at somebody else that is still sick, that person will also heal, and then we get healed, and everybody's healing each other, and that is where we're going into Me'ina Lamaba, the Asid Lava, and it's a place where it's kedai to check out. Yes, I think I said everything, almost everything. It's just you should meditate on the water, because I had a good time with it. Meditate on the water. the water, the way water processes, the way water thinks, the way water moves. I saw it from in one of the Svarim from Tzaddik Cohen in the Akdama, where he's talking about the Yikavi Amayim, and it was fascinating how he's explaining it. How, in other words, he just said the process of what happened, and it just I was sitting on it and understanding like how almost like one-dimensional. I don't know if it's the right word, but I'm using one-dimensional the way I speak English. One-dimensional of how water moves. It's so simple. You have some people just very simple. They just Kabbalah soil, they do. And it's that we're getting that power we're getting from the water. And we said this a couple of days ago. We're talking about that the majority of the makeup of our body is water. So we have that within us. We have that simplicity within us, which means that you can enter that space of just being like a tamim, being innocent, going into that space, and the whole week you can't go there because you're being seen from another place. We're being triggered from other places, so it's very hard to go there. Good luck. Try to be a tamim, and you'll be a loser. That's what happens if you're just being a tamim in business. You can't survive in business. You have to be aggressive. You have to lie, somewhat, and some even, whatever. You got to do. People do crazy things because they're being triggered. Wrong, 100% wrong. I disagree with it, but it is what it is. It's the way of business sometimes. But we're changing that. Healing. People are healing, getting healthy, and we're being seen from a healthy place, so we can actually go into Shefa from a healthy place, be in a healthy place from a healthy place. So the water gives us, so Shabbos, we're able to activate that tamimus. You're not interacting with anybody. You're not allowed to talk about anything outside of whatever's happening in Shabbos, of food and whatever you want to talk about, but there is no business. That's why there's no business. That's why if you do business on Shabbos, or if you talk with Shabbos, you're Mechal Shabbos. Levels of it. Chilul Shabbos mean that, once again, remember, you're not being punished. It's just a consequence. You're bringing into this innocent vibration on this Heichal HaKodesh, this innocent vibration, you're all of a sudden bringing in this harshness, and it's just a crime. It's a crime. It's called bringing Eish Zara, false fire. It's skila. Skila means that the consequence for that is skila. There is going to be rocks thrown into the water, and that's why the vibration is going to be picking up, and it hurts. And there's going to be consequences throughout the week. No punishment, consequences. There is no punishment. It's a big difference between the punishment and the consequence, because as long as we're still living from a place of punishment, you can't go into Gula. You can't go into Gula, because then it's me against my Rebbe, the parents, the community, and ultimately the Eibishter, God, Creator. We have all types of cheshbonos, and then I have temptation. I can't stop. You tell me not to do it, but my body's telling me I want to do it. I can't hold myself back. I'm being triggered in all different places. But if I'm going into consequences, when I'm dealing with consequences, that's a game changer. Because now there's consequences. You want to walk in the mud, you're going to get dirty. You're not going to get punished. It's going to get dirty. You can choose to go here or there. If you choose to go that way, you're going to deal with the consequences. The same thing goes throughout life. There is consequences. And if you're going into the higher das, where you understand you understand that, some people don't like this, because as long as there is punishment, it's easier, because I can't. It's not up to me. But if I'm saying that there's consequences, I got to take ownership. I got to take responsibility. Now it's on me, which means that I can't cry anymore. I can't complain. I can't blame anybody. It's me. I'm the only person to blame, and people don't like that, because that's called the big boy game. So that is called going into Das Elyon, and you can choose. You want to enter into Gan Eden, or you want to stay in Das Tachten. You want to stay in the struggle. You want to stay in the blame game. You want to stay in the victim. You want to stay in the pain. Then that's what you will have. Those will be the consequences. The bed that you make yourself, that's what you're going to be sleeping in. Have an awesome Shabbos. Remember to be easy, to be light on yourself, and to be loving, to be kind, and it should be a healing Shabbos. It should be a sweet Shabbos. We should be able to have a glimpse of where the temperature turns down, instead of seeing it from this harshness and this heaviness and all the chomer levenim that it goes into this liquid matter, to the water, where it just is. I don't need to reach anything. I don't need to get anywhere. Did I get there? Did not get there? I did it and it didn't work. It did work. It's just, I am. I am what I am. I just is. Shabbos, it just is. And that's the message. That's the vibration that's coming out. And that's what you can connect to. Have an awesome Shabbos.